Hi everyone, I'm Lana from the Susan Moe Team, and this is my fiance Scott.
Hi.
We at the Susan Moe Team have decided that we're going to create some videos from home to show you guys what we're doing to keep busy during these strange times.
So today, we're gonna build a fish tank.
Perhaps you have a fish tank that's in your basement or your garage that's just kind of been sitting around and collecting dust for the last few years. Right now is a great time to break it out and start to use it. We bought our fish tank on HEDGE a couple of months ago before the pandemic for $100. It was a used tank, obviously, but it's in pretty great shape.
It's a 25-gallon tall tank. When we bought it, it came with the stand, the tank itself, a lid with a light, and then a filter that hangs on the back of it that will actually filter the water and keep it clean. The other things that we needed to purchase for the tank were the substrate, or the gravel, and the heater. We were able to get both of them off Amazon. This one is a little bit more expensive, $40 a bag. It's a fertilized substrate. We're gonna put live plants in the tank so that it can keep those plants alive and they can grow well. And then the heater was really cheap, $15. It's a 100-watt heater, so should be able to keep this tank nice and warm. We're gonna use some wood and granite to fill up some space. We're gonna cover that up with the substrate, and then we're going to put some rocks in there. The last thing we'll do is we will plant some seeds. We got these plant seeds off of Amazon. There's 3 bags of them, $13.99 or something. We're not really sure what they are, but they're some kind of carpeting plant. So the idea is to cover the entire substrate with a green plant, and we'll see how it progresses over the next week. We wanted to try to do this fish tank as cheap as possible, and we can't go to stores to pick our rocks right now, so we went down to the Ottawa River. That turned out to be harder than we anticipated. Most of the rocks in the Ottawa River look something like this. Calcium will leach into the water, change the pH, and increase the hardness of the water. The rocks that I put into the aquarium had to be cleaned really well before they go in there. I basically scrubbed all of the rocks with a toothbrush and then rinsed them really well with tap water before they went into the aquarium.
So it's been 5 days now since we put all of the substrate and the rocks into the tank. We also had planted that carpeting plant. That's actually starting to come up now, and now we plan on putting some larger plants in there and filling the tank up. Stay tuned.
This is an ANUBIAS plant. We're going to plant it in kind of beside this big rock here. Next, we have some magenta water hedge, which is a nice, like, pinkish red plant, and it's going to go kind of in between these rocks. It's going to be a focal point of the tank right in the center. The last of the plants is a sparkle sword. It's a type of Amazon sword, and I'm going to put it kind of in this back corner behind the rock because it's going to grow really tall.
You should be careful when you're filling up your tank with water, especially after you've freshly planted your plants in there, just to make sure that you don't damage them in any way.
What I've done is I've taken a little container and poked holes in it so that the water can flow out smoothly. And then I'm putting some paper towel in the bottom of the tank so that the water flow doesn't rip up all the plants that we just planted. The last thing I'm doing is I have a cleaning hose that I use for the other tank. I'm going to use it to pour the water into the tank so that the flow is relatively slow. So in this tank, we plan to have a couple of plecos and little red shrimp. What I've done is I've made a couple little caves. I basically went out and found driftwood and then hollowed out the inside of them. I boiled them for probably 6 hours combined to get most of the wood waterlogged. What I've done now is I've put Java moss on top. I'm going to put it in the back corner of the tank.
So it's been about a week since we first started working on the fish tank. Scott did a water test today and all of the levels are good to go for adding fish. And so we went out to a local fish store and we picked up 3 little guppies. They're really cute. And Scott is going to explain how to properly transfer your fish into your fish tank.
What you do is you float the bag that they are currently in the water that you're going to introduce them to for 15 to 20 minutes so that they can get acclimated to the temperature.
15 minutes later.
So it's been about 15 minutes now. We have to add some of the aquarium water, about the same amount that they're swimming in now, into the bag that they came in so that they get accustomed to the water chemistry of the aquarium they're going to be moved into. So now they're in about 50% the water they came with and 50% the aquarium water they will be moving into. And so we clamp that to the side of the tank and let them sit there for another 15 minutes or so. So it's important that whenever you're transferring fish from the bag into your aquarium, you don't get any of the old water into your aquarium because it could contaminate it. So you catch them with a net out of the bag and you release them into your tank.
So there you have it. In about 3 weeks' time, our fish tank went from this to this.
The only other things we added were some guppies, some red cherry shrimp, some snails to keep the tank clean, and 2 spotted plecos.
We created our tank for about $350, but you can definitely create one for cheaper. It really all depends on the fish that you put in it and the plants. We learned a lot building this fish tank, and we hope that you did too. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you're staying safe.